Hello friends, I am Krishnakant Jani from LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Welcome to the online lecture series on kinematics and theory of motion. In this session, we will cover up about gear. This session is about introduction and classification of gear. So let's start this session and learn about basic introduction. So history says that gear came into picture since very long time. In ancient time, we can refer that people were using gear system to open and close their caves. Then wooden gears came into picture, and in 18th century, when invention of metal gear came, at that time it had made a major revolutionary change in the industrial manufacturing side. Okay, so let's learn about the basic concept how these gear are working. Okay, so gear are mainly used to transmit power from one shaft to another shaft. Okay, we can use belt drive and gear drives also to transmit power from one shaft to another shaft. Over here, if the distance is very small, that in that case we can transmit power with the help of these friction wheels. Let's consider two wheels having a surface which is matching with each other. So over here, if you want to transmit power from this wheel A to wheel B, then this rotation of wheel A will cause friction between this contact, and due to that the gear B or the wheel B will be rotating in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, but it may be possible that over here slip may occur. Okay, so to eliminate this slip issue, we can introduce teeth between them. Okay, so if we produce or if we manufacture small teeth, or we can say some pointed projections over here, and the similar type of projections on the matting gear. So over here, this engagement will cause a smooth functioning of this gear 1 and gear 2. Okay, so this is how the first concept of gear came into picture. So if we consider, then if we want to define gear, then we can say simply that a gear is an arrangement in which a friction wheel with the tooth which are cut on its periphery are used. Okay, now the small specification, that if we use a small size of gear and large size of gear, then over there we will consider the small size of gear as a pinion and the large size of gear as a gear. Okay, but there are some advantages and disadvantages of gear also. Okay, let's first learn the advantages. So over here we can say that with comparison to the belt drive and rope drive, over here with the help of gear we can transmit exact power, because over here if we are not providing tooth, then the friction will come into picture, and due to friction it may be possible that slight slippage may occur. So over here we can not say that it is transmitting exact velocity, but on a counter side, by using this tooth over the periphery of this gear, we can say that it can transmit exact velocity ratio. Another benefit, it will produce the maximum efficiency. Okay, so these type of benefits are obtained with the help of gear. Over here we can say that exact velocity ratio. We can also transmit large amount of power with the help of gear, because it will help us to transmit any amount of power with comparison of belt and rope drives. Okay, it has the maximum efficiency. And another benefit is the compact layout. Over here we can accommodate this gear system into very small mechanisms also. For example, in our wristwatch, there is also a number of gears attached in such a way that they are forming one gear train, and this gear train is helping the system to rotate hour clock, minute clock and second clock parallelly. Okay, so in this way we can say this compact layout makes it more convenient for use. Okay, then then there are some disadvantages also. Okay, so first disadvantage, that manufacturing of this gear. Okay, so if you want to produce gear over here, then you have to cut some teeth on this periphery, and this cutting action requires some manufacturing process. Okay, so we can say that manufacturing of gear is difficult compared to other drives, and some possibility of error over here is also large, because if you have not cut any one teeth on this gear which is not meshing perfectly with the other side of gear, then it may produce noise and vibration between them. Okay, so there are some disadvantages, but compared to that disadvantages, advantages are very large with the help of gear. So that's why in this time we can say that gears are widely used for many mechanisms and systems. Okay, now let's learn classification of gear, that how these gears are classified. So these gears are classified into mainly three categories. These categories are defined according to their positions. For example, the first category, the first classification of gear is according to the position of the axis of shaft, how the position of shafts are placed. Okay, so in previous system, as we have referred, that over here, if you want to transmit power from one shaft to another shaft, okay, then you are using gear system. But if these shafts positions, how it can be changed, okay, and to accommodate this facility of changing in the shaft axis, how we can introduce different type of gear. So the first one, that is if these shaft axes are parallel to each other. Then second classification, the shaft axes are intersecting. For example, this one is your shaft A and shaft B is arranged in such a manner like you have to transmit power from between these two angles, or either you want to transmit power between two shafts having 90-degree angle between them. Okay, so in that case, second type of gear came into picture. And for the system having non-intersecting and non-parallel, if the axes are non-intersecting and non-parallel, then these type of gears are used. Okay, so let's learn this classification one by one in detail. So first one, that is according to the position of shafts, where the shafts are parallel to each other. Okay, so when the axes of shafts are parallel to each other, in that case the first type of gear is known as a spur gear, and it is widely used in industrial applications. Okay, and you have referred this diagram number of times, that in a simple wheel, if we are providing teeth on its periphery, then it is termed as a spur gear. But here the main fundamental is that these gear are parallel to the axis of shaft. Okay, so if you want to define spur gear, then we can say that spur gear is a system in which the gear teeth are cut in such a way that they are parallel with the axis of shaft. Okay, and to mesh with this type of gear on a counter side, again you have to use a spur gear, which is again having the axis, teeth axis are parallel to the shaft axis. Okay, so this type of gear is termed as a spur gear. Over here, if you want to transmit power from one shaft to another, then over here the gradual engagement and disengagement of these two teeth will cause power transmission. Okay, but there are certain limitations. For example, spur gears are very easy to manufacture, because over here you have to remove material in a simple way. So you can use various mechanisms. Simple, in a shaper machine you can, or in a milling machine you can cut teeth on this gear. So in this way manufacturing of spur gear is easy. But here if you refer this diagram, then when these two teeth are meshing with each other, okay, so at that time there is a sudden contact between them and entire width come into contact with the other teeth. Over here if you consider that entire teeth will come into picture on a same time. So for large amount of power transmission, it will produce jerk between them. Okay, so that's why spur gear are not used for large amount of power transmission. Okay, because over here it may produce some vibration and jerk because there is sudden engagement and disengagement between two teeth. To overcome this difficulty, second type of gear, helical gear, came into picture. Okay, in helical gear, the teeth are inclined at certain angle with the axis of shaft, and this angle is known as a helix angle. Okay, if you refer it as a alpha or lambda concept over here, then we can say that if the teeth of gear are inclined with the axis of shaft, then that type of gear is known as a helical gear. Now what will be the benefit over here? If you refer this figure, then while meshing with the other gear, it will not make sudden contact, but it will making a gradual contact with the entire surface. If you refer another gear which is meshing between them, so here you can refer that these teeth will come in gradual contact. First this teeth will come into picture and gradually it will mesh with the entire teeth. So over here the jerk will be reduced. So in a way it is useful for large amount of power transmission. But on a counter side, manufacturing is difficult because over here you have to produce a straight slots. So that can be directly produced with the help of milling machine. But over here you have to make some difficult arrangement to cut this material in a curve shape. Okay, now another point is that over here the profile of meshing gears are opposite type of. For example, over here if you consider this diagram, then in this diagram you can refer that this with respect to this axis, teeth are cut in this direction. Okay, so the meshing gear which you have to engage with this one has to produce an opposite side of teeth. For example, then the other type of teeth which is in opposite direction. Okay, so over here you have to produce this mechanism in this way to exactly do power transmission. Now over here in case of helical gear, if you refer this profile of this gear, then you can say that due to engagement and disengagement it will produce axial thrust between two shafts. Okay, because here the engagement is making in such a way that will produce axial thrust between these two shafts. Okay, to eliminate this axial thrust, we can say that we can use double helical or herringbone gear. Over here the inclination is made up in such a way that half of the profile is in for example inclined at left side, then other will be inclined at right side. So in such a way this type of gear can reduce this axial thrust. Okay, so this type of arrangement is known as a double helical or herringbone gear. Okay, that is the first classification of gear according to the parallel shafts. Okay, so when you have to transmit power from one shaft to other shaft which are parallel to each other, then you can use either spur gear, and the power transmission amount is large, then you can use helical gears. Okay, now second, if these gear shafts are intersecting with each other, intersecting it means the first, if you consider this diagram, so over here the axis of first shaft and second shaft is making some angle, for example angle lambda. Okay, so if two axes are inclined at certain angle, then at that time you can use this type of arrangement which is known as a bevel gear. Okay, now these bevel gears are again made up of two types, straight bevel and helical bevel. Again you can consider from its name itself, then in helical gear the teeth will be at some helical angle. For example, in this mechanism you can observe that this teeth profile is inclined at certain angle, and this angle will help to transmit power of large amount. And if the power transmission amount is small, then you can use straight profile over here. And in this case, if the profile is straight, that is the parallel to the axis of shaft, we can simply say that the plane of this shaft and this plane of this teeth both are parallel or meshing with each other, then it is termed as a straight bevel gear. Otherwise it is termed, if it is inclined, then it is termed as a helical bevel gear. Okay, now if these axes are non-intersecting and non-parallel, okay, for example like this arrangement, the first axis which is let's consider horizontal, and the another axis which is again horizontal, but these planes are not intersecting with each other. So in a way we can say it is non-intersecting and non-parallel arrangement. Okay, so this type of arrangement, in that case we have to use worm gear arrangement over here. Okay, now over here you can observe from this diagram. So worm gear will help us to produce a large amount of velocity ratio, that the driving and driven shaft, you refer over here this RPM of this screw compared to this worm wheel is very large. Okay, so over here you can produce large amount of velocity ratio either on a higher side or on a lower side. Okay, so in this way, if the axis of shaft is non-intersecting and non-parallel, then we can use worm gear, or either we can use bevel gear, which is made up of in a screw type. Okay, so that is the simple classification of gear according to the axis of shaft of gear. Further to classification that we will learn in our next session. Thank you.